me. Why me? Of all the people for it to happen. But what I was doing was pulling in what I most feared to face it. As a result of walking through and facing that, I'm no longer frightened of dogs. Interestingly, I say until relatively recently, the things that probably terrified me most were going to the dentist, flying, and speaking in public. And being ridiculed. Which has never happened to me, has it, in this country, you know? My worst nightmare would have been having a tooth out on a plane while making a speech to the laughing passengers. That would have done me in that. But as a result of facing all of those fears that I've just said, I don't fear any of them anymore. Because fear is our creation. It's a choice. We can choose to fear or not to fear. So this process of putting out our imagination of ourselves and pulling in a physical reflection of that is at the heart of the human experience. And the most destructive state of mind, and my goodness me, we've all been there, it's possible to be in, is poor me. The victim mentality will always reproduce the victim reality. This world is awash with victims because this world is awash with people who have been conditioned to see themselves as victims, powerless, under the control of somebody else. Therefore, they create that reality. And we've all been there, as I say, but for some it becomes like permanent squatters' rights in the psyche, the victim mentality. And it doesn't matter how you fuss around and run around someone who's in victim mode, poor me, you know, someone else is in control of my life and they must do something about it, and oh God, I'm ever so unlucky. Doesn't matter how you try to help someone like that, they'll always be in victim circumstances because the vibe they're putting out will constantly pull in that physical reflection. The change, which is why vision is so important, the change that gets the victim out of that situation is to realize there are no victims, only states of mind that perceive themselves to be victims. The moment we say, hold on a minute, hold on a little, I'm not a robot, I'm not a clone, and I am certainly not a victim. I'm in control of my life, and I'm going to get out of these circumstances that I'm in at the moment because I've created them and I'm going to get out of them. At that point, the vibe changes. So what it pulls in changes. Suddenly, people get bits of luck. And amazing coincidences happen. You'll never guess, mate. It was ever so lucky. That guy came into my life at just the right time and helped me get out of that circumstance. I couldn't believe it. Not luck at all. Creation by a changed state of mind. So if we are creating our own reality by our imagination of ourselves, this is at the heart of how all that I talked about in the first half actually has been created and is allowed to continue. What are we bombarded with throughout our lives? Messages about limitation, about the fact that we can't do this, and I can't, I could never mentality. A fear of experience, because so much experience is denied to us by people saying, you can't do that, you shouldn't do that. Religion has bombarded the psyche with born sinners. Great start in life, that, isn't it? So we're constantly being hit by this sense of limitation. I can't, I could never, I'm frightened to. So we have a limited imagination of ourselves. I remember I was brought up on this big housing estate, and I was kind of conditioned to believe that because I was like working class, that my life was basically sorted. Because there were two types of people in the world. There was us and there was them, and as I was an us and not a them, that was fundamentally important and at the heart of where my life would go. I was born working class and I'll always be working class. Not planning to evolve then. No, all right. Limitation, limitation, limitation. And it manifests itself in this great line. The ordinary man and woman in the street. I don't know about you, I have never in my life met a single ordinary man or woman ever. All I meet are extraordinary people. But we are conditioned to see ourselves as ordinary. Ordinary man and woman in the street, I got no power. Therefore, we play that part. We read that script. We act out on the movie of life, this three-dimensional holographic movie we're part of here in this three-dimensional world. We play the part. And therefore we live that reality. Limitation of I can't, I could never, I'm ordinary. So we set up the circumstances in which those who see themselves as ordinary can be manipulated by those who realize the game. What I've sort of seen in this hassle-free zone that I talked about at the start, the hassle-free zone is also a pyramid. I was kind of interested to be invited last summer to the memorial service for the British comedian Larry Grayson, who I knew quite well for a short time. Very funny man. Something was said at that event which